Hello, I'm Grace Hardy and welcome back to the Unconventional Podcast. Today we have Haji, who is an apprentice and has recently started his own apprenticeship community. So welcome.
Hi, thank you for having me.
At school, how did you find it? I find that a lot of apprentices actually really struggled at school, and so staying and then going to university in the school environment just is not for them.
From a young age, my parents tried to make me as academic as possible. I used to do Kumon, if you know what Kumon is.
Yes.
That was horrible. But no, I'm very grateful my parents made me do it. Then I got into one of the top 5 schools in the country.
Congratulations.
Thank you, but I absolutely did horrible there. I just couldn't click with the teachers, couldn't click with how they teach you and stuff. So then after GCSEs, I moved to a public school for sixth form, and I managed to do quite well there, a lot better. I'd never thought about getting an A star before. I thought I was going to get B's and C's. I went to a public school, and that's where I found out a bit about apprenticeships.
That's amazing. So going back to your primary, secondary school, what do you think it was about school that just didn't click?
I think it's about finding your personality. At a very young age, you're very impressionable. I was always following the crowd. I was always messing around. And that's why still to this day, when I'm talking and when things are going on, my code switches a lot. You'll hear a lot about code switching and stuff. But yeah, no, I was always trying to follow the crowd, always trying to be someone I wasn't being. And yeah, just became the class clown, and it just didn't work out.
Going back to sixth form, what did you study?
I studied economics or economics,
however you want to pronounce it.
Yep. Business studies and statistics.
Oh my god, that's so much fun. How did you find out about apprenticeships in the first place?
They came to my school.
Did they?
They came to my school, spoke a bit about it, and I was very interested in. And I was like, okay, cool. I remember going home, I did a little presentation, and I was like, Mum, Dad, I want to do an apprenticeship. This is why. Because obviously being from an Asian background, initially in my head, I thought it was going to be very difficult to persuade my parents. But they were on it instantly. I think it's easier because both my parents are quite young. My dad works in the finance industry. My mum works in Department of Education. So it was kind of like, yeah, all right, they were on it. And then that's when I started applying to different, firms and stuff.
That's so amazing that they were so open. So obviously at home, how do you think that having a parent in finance has shaped your mindset around money? I
think it's helped. Okay, I think the parent in finance isn't very good with his money, but my mum is extremely good with hers, and she's taught me how to save and make sure you're budgeting well. And yeah, I think just having that kind of awareness that you need to have a bit of foundation when you're building up the ladder, especially with your savings. It's very important, especially if you're buying cars and you're buying, clothes and stuff like that, and then you get a parking ticket. You need to have something to fall back on.
I'm always the same. My car is very reliably unreliable. Yeah. It always will break down. My check engine light came on the other day. I think I've gone through maybe 5-6 tires in the last year. So I need to know how to save so that when something goes wrong, then I know I have enough money to sort it out. Honestly, I just need to buy a new car at this point.
5-6 tires, please.
Yeah, because I'm just terrible for a slow puncture.
Oh, okay.
Or the tread was wearing a little bit too thin. It wasn't in that 1.6 millimeter that it needs to be.
I probably should check my tires when I get
Good, I'm glad. I think budgeting and saving is really, really important. Did you ever have a part-time job?
Very discreetly. And what I mean by that is I went every once in a while when I was very low on money. I worked at my aunt's takeaway, which is our family Chinese takeaway, and yeah, just worked there for a bit, did packing. When I was a kid, I just used to sit, in the corner on my little PS Vita, and I earned £20 just from sitting there, just being with my dad. But no, yeah, every now and again I did a bit of that part-time job. Even when I'm at my work now, during Christmas, I normally help out the shop. But besides that, no, that's literally all I did.
When you were little, what did you end up doing with that money that you got?
FIFA points.
FIFA points?
Yeah, that's the best answer I can give you. I'm a massive FIFA fan. And as a kid, when you get a £20 note, especially in cash, the first thing you're thinking about is I'm running to game and get myself a PS4 card or an Xbox card. And yeah, that's what I did with it. Very rarely I'd not spend it on games. It was either FIFA or Fortnite. That was the only 2 things I'd spend it on. But besides that, yeah.
I think that's so relatable. And so going back to your apprenticeship, convincing your parents was easy enough, which I think is great because so many parents don't see the benefit in an apprenticeship. I think in their heads they go, if you want to go into construction or hairdressing, then yeah, sure, an apprenticeship is for you, but they don't really see the benefits of it if you want to go into something like cybersecurity or data analytics or accounting or anything like that. So that's so nice that they were so open about it. Did that help you as well?
Oh, 100%. My family's very supportive when it comes to education. They're very big on it, which is quite good. It's quite nice. I flopped in school in GCSEs. I messed up really badly. And, even though I'm on the first day, I might have been shouted out or whatever. After that, they really, they helped me. They helped me drive my career. So, having very supportive parents was very helpful for me to, get to where I am today.
That's so nice. When you were looking for apprenticeships, did you know what sector you wanted to go into?
Yes and no. When I was 16, these career fairs came to us, and I've always remember this. This one guy who's a bald guy who sat there in a full blue suit, he was telling me about consulting, and he was telling me about, we do our 9 to 5, then we go partying afterwards, we go do this, we go have fun, and consultants have very easy jobs. They help businesses, and then they go have fun. So I was like, I want to be a consultant. And since then, it's stuck in my head to be a consultant. And, now I work at a consultancy firm. But when I was in sixth form, it was a little bit harder for me to choose because obviously I applied a bit late and then I realised, okay, there's not a lot on the block, for me to go for. And it took me a while, but then I managed to secure the 1 degree apprenticeship I wanted. So I was like,
big congrats.
Thank you.
I think that's so important. I also applied so late because in my school, we didn't even have someone come speak to us about it. So the only reason I knew what an apprenticeship was is because my mum had run one in the NHS for nursing associates. So that was really, really important. I applied so late. I remember getting my offer on my birthday, which for anyone listening is the 15th of July, and to start in the following September.
Wow.
So it was a really massive turnaround.
I think mine was June, to be fair. I was very late as well, yeah.
Yeah, it was honestly such like a whim of luck. Like I was so lucky because now they start opening in like January and they're booked up by February and all the offers have gone out. How did you find the process?
It was okay. It was very different because I've never applied for a job, never done an interview, never done anything. So it was my first time doing all of this. Luckily, my school was extremely supportive, so they really helped me out. Our process was about 4 or 5 different stages. You start off with the normal job application, then we went into a job simulation, which was, it was a little test, I think. It was a test where they were like maths and English.
Yeah, maths and English. Did you have non-verbal reasoning as well?
No, I didn't, luckily enough. I've skipped non-verbal reasoning twice. First in my 11 plus, and then now in that, which I'm very happy about because I hate non-verbal. But I remember the maths one; it was really hard. Like one of the questions, I took a screenshot of it because I didn't know how to do it, and I sent it to my dad. I was like, "Dad, how'd you do this?" He couldn't figure it out either. That's what I mean. So if none of us could figure it out, I was like, okay, it's just a test to see how resilient you are. So anyways, after that, I went into the job simulation, which was okay. It was fairly decent. I do remember spending a little bit of time in the practice questions, practicing my singing. Don't ask why. I thought
No, go on. Why are you practicing your singing? Now you brought it up, you have to answer the question.
So, for some reason, not when I'm nervous, when I'm bored, I'll just sing a random song or I'll do something. I'm a horrible singer, but What's
your go-to song?
It really depends on on the mood. It depends what I've been listening to because I'm one of those persons, like if I click with a song, if I love a song, I'll listen to it on repeat until I rinse it out. And then I hate the song. Then that's it. I'm never going to touch that song again.
I'm exactly the same.
If a few years later down the line, I'm trying to feel some nostalgia, I'll revisit it for like once or twice. Yeah. But I don't remember what I was singing, but I was singing something and then I realized it was recording and I was like, oh God, what am I doing? Managed to get through that. Then I went to the assessment centre. Yeah. And that was a group task, a group case study with about 5 or 6 people. Mm-hmm. And they were testing your behavioural skills and your...
Can you work in a team, etc.?
Exactly that. And then after that, we went into the final assessment, which was the interview. Mm-hmm. So I sat with like a manager or something from the department and they asked me questions. They asked me questions about the cloud. And at the time, anything I knew about cloud was the thing on your iPhone. So I was pretty like, okay, I'm going to go off the dome here and just try my best. And that's literally
all you can do.
Exactly.
That's amazing. So fast forward, you got your apprenticeship. Mm-hmm. So big congratulations.
Thank you.
What did you do with your first payslip? As someone who started my own accountancy business, I know how exciting and challenging it can be. If you're looking to follow a similar path, Informe is here to help. A free website powered by AAT, Informe provides free guidance to empower small businesses to make more informed decisions. Informe will help unlock your inspiration and turn your idea into a reality and navigate the non-stop challenges of running a business from start up to scale up. Find out more at informe.co.uk/unconventional.
Great question. So the first thing I did was take my family out for a meal.
Oh, that's so lovely.
We went to this place called Giggling Squid, which is a Thai restaurant.
Yes, they've got one in Oxford from where I'm from.
Oh, yeah, no, it's so nice. It's lovely. There's like a little squid cone, which is really nice. And we went there. And that's what I did with my first pay. I ended up spending the rest of the pay on repaying my savings because the first month you don't get paid and traveling to London is very expensive. So I spent about £800-900. So I was like, I'll repay that off. And then I spent the rest on getting into work for the next month. And then after that, I was like starting to float. And I was like, okay, cool.
Did you take the lessons that your mum had taught you about about saving and budgeting for the rest of your pay slips, because obviously with the first pay slip you're going to buy something extravagant, you're going to do something really nice for yourself as like a congratulations, but going forward, do you budget and save?
Oh, 100%. Every month I have a little budget, so I'll section off around £500-600 savings. Minimum. It has to be done. Like, you have to save. I was doing quite well on savings last year, and then I wrote off my car. Yeah. So I had to buy a new car, and the car prices were going up.
Yeah,
so
that's terrible.
I had to fork it out my savings, because where I live in Essex, I need a car. I need a car to get places. Like, sometimes I'm so lazy I drive into London because the train is too expensive.
I drive around London. That's how lazy I am.
Congestion charge is horrible, but sometimes you just think about it and I'm like, if I just park outside the congestion charge zone, it's free. I've budgeted quite well, and I make sure to section it out. I count the days on my calendar to my next pay, so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do a budget of £35 a day. It cost me £20 to get into London, which is very expensive, and then £15 on lunch and coffee and food, because look, everyone's prone to tap in your card, Apple Pay especially. I do £35 a day. And then every week I'll be like, okay, I'm going to go in 3-4 times a week. So what's that? £140. So I'll do £140 per week, times that by 4, that's £640. So that's what I do. Budget every week that. Then I spend £500 for myself a month on leisure. I'm a big going outer when it comes to food. I love my food. I spend so much money on food. So I know I'm going to spend a lot of money on dinners out. So I budget for that. Then you got petrol. So it's all about like keeping track of your utilities and all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and definitely living below your means, for sure.
Oh, 100%.
That's so important. I know people who have massive cars on finance that cost them £600-700 a month with insurance and everything, and that's crazy. And then they've got no money left at the end of the month. So budgeting is so important, especially if you're an apprentice, because it gives you such a platform to be able to save so young.
100%. I think especially another thing is that, I know you've covered it, but in the sense of, as the kids will say these days, flexing your money. And that is one of the worst things. Like what I'm wearing now, like this is from ASOS, this is from, supply and demand. Like, it's not like I'm earning a good salary, like thankfully, thank to God, but I don't want to flaunt it too much, because at the end of the day, these are your younger years in life. You're going to be messing around. You're going to be doing this kind of stuff. Don't waste your money on things that a few years later you're going to regret. Also,
I think spending money on flashy things is probably just horrific, because everything depreciates anyway. I'm wearing these shoes that look like Doc Martens, but they're actually H&M Kids. A, just because my feet are so small, and B, because I don't need to spend loads of money on Doc Martens. They look like them. Everyone goes, oh, I love your Doc Martens. Did I go, H&M? And it's just small things like that I think are so important. Like, spend money on going out and doing things and having experiences that you actually enjoy. Like, I love spending money on traveling. That makes me really, really happy, and I love doing it, and I don't mind spending money on it. But when it comes to like clothes or shoes or makeup, I just like to keep it very, very basic and like save a lot of money there.
That's great, honestly. I think that's the only way you can do it.
I think so. You post a lot on social media.
Yes.
TikTok, LinkedIn, Instagram. How did you start?
I've loved content creating for a very long time. When I was 13, 14, I did Instagram posts. I used to be a graphic designer. So I used to do like football content. I used to make like different photos and stuff like that. A few videos. They used to get quite a lot of likes. I've got a few million likes on there, a few million views on my Instagram. And then I scrapped the account because I had to focus on GCSEs. Even though I was getting all these views and all these followers, I was like, no, look, this ain't going to get me anywhere. I was making a bit of money off clients. I was like, no, I'm 13, 14. There's so much more I can do with education. So I focused on education. Then lockdown came. And then I moved into the esports community, because I was a massive gamer. I used to be a Fortnite player that was at a very decent level, winning a lot of money, spending, I was pretty decent at the game. So then I made an esports community that got over a network of 50,000 members.
That's insane.
I know. Honestly, it was great. It was just about bringing people together, making a community where I can, spend time with people online, because we couldn't go out. And if you was like a bit of a loser like me in lockdown, I was a big loser, and I'll put my hand up to that. You wanted to spend time with people on Discord, and like, you want to spend time with them online. So I ended up doing that. And then I've always had that content spark. And then what happened was I got rid of Discord as well, got rid of the esports community, because everyone started going back out of lockdown, life started coming back to normal. And then last year, July, I started making videos again, just for fun. I love making videos. It's the one thing I can't stop doing. And I used to do cringy fitness content. So I'd record myself in the gym, doing my, lat pull downs, all this kind of stuff.
Did you do what I eat in a day as well?
No, I didn't, because I used to eat absolute. I don't know if I can swear.
You can swear on this.
Okay, I used to eat absolute shit. I used to eat horribly. Like, there was some days where you gourmet burger kitchen.
Yeah.
There's 1 week at work, I spent a whole week there every single day having the aged pesto chicken burger. That is my favorite.
It's so yummy though.
I know, it's amazing. But yeah, I could never do what I eat because I ate horribly. But yeah, I did gym content and it just never hit. Then one day I decided, okay, I'm going to post a day in the life as a degree apprentice, just for fun. I was like, do you know what? Let me just be transparent with everyone. I'm a degree apprentice. Why am I doing fitness content? So I was like, okay, I did it. 20,000 views. I was like, okay, I found something here. Next, I did the exact same thing again. I went on someone's TikTok and copied all their hashtags as a degree apprentice. I think it was one of the big creators, and I was like, okay, cool. I'm gonna copy it again. Second day, 30,000 views on the second video. I was like, okay, I've hit a spark. Then the next 2 weeks, I posted sole degree apprenticeship content. 3 of my videos went over 150k views, and everything was 20k plus. And I hit 2,000 followers within the first month.
That's insane.
I know, and I was like, okay, I love content.
You found your niche.
Exactly. That's exactly what I found. I love the content. I knew what I was doing and I went with it. And it came with so many perks. Like, opportunities came out of nowhere. For example, going on podcasts like this, for example, meeting so many different people. It just expanded my network. Going to, charity galas, balls, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And like, having that thing where you walk around, people are like, I've noticed you from TikTok. I'm not a big TikToker. I'm not. But having people come up to you saying, oh, you helped me get this degree apprenticeship, you helped me get that. That's what kept me going.
That must feel so, so nice. And I think social media is so important, especially because that's where Gen Z are way more likely to Google something. TikTok something on TikTok rather than Google on Google.
I haven't used Google in a while.
I had to use Google to Google the Google office the other day because I didn't know where I was going. But Gen Z go to TikTok to get so much information. And especially because degree apprenticeships are becoming more widely seen as a very good route to go down because there are so many perks and benefits. It's equivalent to a uni degree. It's free and you get paid. It's sort of a no-brainer at the end of the day.
100%.
When you post content as a degree apprentice, showing the ins and outs, and you give like tips and tricks away, I think that is so, so valuable. Schools aren't really equipped to give that information away because no teacher so far has done an apprenticeship. Obviously now the teacher apprenticeship has come out, so in a couple of years there will be teachers that will have done apprenticeships and be able to help students through the process because it is very different to applying to uni. But it's people like you that give those like tips and tricks out on social media. I think that's so important.
Yeah, 100%. I think especially I do live streams as well. So, going on live in the evening with a few of my friends who are also content creators. Actually, funny story, I've met a lot of my friends through live streams. So the first time I ever went live, or I found out about the live feature, I used to just practice it. Like I used to set up the camera. It'd be on the live function, but I wouldn't actually go live. I'd just pretend, like just see what it's like. Just to
Okay, quickly, sorry to interrupt you. Your 3 top tips for going live on TikTok, because I'm terrified. I'm literally so scared to go live. I don't know why it seems so intimidating. So give me some of your tips. I started my career studying for the AAT qualification whilst working as an accounting apprentice. I've seen firsthand the value that apprentices bring to the workplace. If you're a business looking to develop or grow your finance function, it's a no-brainer. You'll be developing motivated, enthusiastic employees who learn practical skills whilst gaining a formal qualification. You can hire apprentices to study an AAT qualification while they work or upskill your existing employees. Plus, there's funding available to cover your training costs. To find out more on why apprenticeships make great business sense and how to get started, go to aat.org.uk/unconventional.
So I used to be a Twitch streamer, so it's a bit comfortable. But like the best thing about it is, I'd say number one, if you're nervous, go live with people. So I met, I don't know if you know, like Babs, for example.
Yes,
I met him through TikTok Live. So I went live with these people and they just kind of eased me into it, especially because there's a lot of people on there's a lot of space. So I'd say go live with people, even if it's not your niche. Go live with someone that can speak about your niche or that can speak, of a distance relation of your niche. That's number one. Number two would be to not care what people think, because obviously like your personal Instagram and all of that, all your school friends are on there and you're like, oh, if these lot going to see me on TikTok Live, they're going to think I'm like, the people that do the little impersonations and all of that, they're going to think I'm very cringy. You cannot have any care in the world what people think, because it just stops you from growing.
Yeah.
And I started posting on Instagram about it and it grew my page so much. It helped me out so much. So don't care what people think. Like I have my aunt sometimes join my TikTok Live, and when I see her name in there, I'm like, oh God, What's going on? I have people from my hockey team that join the live, and then they end up asking me questions like predictions for the scores on the weekend, and I'm sat there like, okay, cool, it's fine, it's not that big of a deal. And then the last one, just like this podcast, it's a conversation. At the end of the day, it's a conversation. Just think about it as you're having a conversation with someone. Sometimes I imagine it as like a telephone interview. At the end of the day, there's no one in front of you. You're only talking to yourself. Just go with it. Just have fun with it. Like if they're gonna do that kind of stuff, go and have fun with it, because it's
you have to embrace it at the end of the day.
Exactly that.
Otherwise, you're gonna cry into your pillow, and it's just not gonna be very glamorous.
100%.
So you have recently launched For the Apprentices, which is a very, very exciting community. So what was the idea behind it?
I spent a lot of time working with different networks before, obviously, and I've realized that my values are a lot different, and that I'm a person that cares about relations and people. And For the Apprentice is basically a community where it's all non-profit, and it focuses on bringing people valuable time, but also listening to their feedback. So the whole point about it and how it came around was, I thought, I'm going to contact a few people that I know that have worked in, networks before, that have worked in these kind of apprenticeship spaces, and I can trust them in the sense of they've got the skills that they can bring to the table. So I contacted a lot of people, and we came together and we said, we're going to make an apprenticeship community where it's non-profit, we care about the user feedback, and, we focus on bringing quality events. For example, they could be a free event. That could be something like working as a team in a cafe, bringing different apprentices together in a cafe. And as long as people are having fun, they're not going to mind. It's free. We're not going to, you're not going to charge for it. We're not going to do anything. It's just about bringing people together and, just having a bit of fun whilst networking, because networking can be very boring.
Yeah, I do a lot of school talks, and I've got a slide on networking, and I always go, networking sounds boring, because it is, but there are ways that you can make it more entertaining, and I think communities is definitely one of them, because you're doing it without even thinking about it, and I think that's so important. And obviously such a worrying statistic is that the dropout rate for an apprentice is 51%. Do you think that your community can help that? Because I think being an apprentice can be very lonely. For me, for example, none of my friends did an apprenticeship. They all went to university, and so at times I felt very isolated that I'm the only one that had picked this path.
I know that having a community where it's non-profit and it focuses on people and their feedback is probably one of the most important things. Having a community that engages with yourself, that makes you feel important, that gives you some sort of recognition, I think that tempts people to stay. Because what it does, it shows them that, after their apprenticeship, there's a space, there's a future there, whether you can change careers, you can meet different people. People have so many different user stories. Yeah. And I'm saying user stories because I'm a consultant, we spend a lot of time doing this kind of stuff. But they have so many different stories that you can spread to one another, and someone might be like, oh, I like the route she's gone down, or I like the route he's gone down. And that's all just through networking and an open space, but without it being so
formal, yeah.
Exactly.
And having someone that you can relate to as well. Everyone in the community is working 9 to 5. They're studying after their 9 to 5. And I think that's so important because they can relate and they know how tough it is to be a degree apprentice.
100%. And For the Apprentices is built around a team of 9 people. And every single one of them is very relaxed and they're very friendly, and every single one of them are very relatable in some way, shape or form. They'll all jump into the group chat, or they'll all jump here and there, like into events, and people will just go to them, like they just, naturally attract towards them because they're so open and friendly. And that's something very important that obviously I thought about when building this team.
So where can people find For the Apprentices?
You can find it on LinkedIn, TikTok, in my bio, on any social media. For the Apprentices, it's literally just For the Apprentices that's it. We've got the handle on all social medias. So
overall in your apprenticeship, I know you haven't finished yet, but do you think it's made you better at managing your personal finances compared to if you had gone to university?
Oh, 100%. I think being in debt is one of the scariest things possible, especially because I have an Amex, and when you tap
APR is quite high.
Yeah, it is. So you need to pay it off as soon as possible. But yeah, it's very important. I think being in an apprenticeship really helps you manage your money well. And that is because you're earning that money, so you value that money a lot more than if someone gives you an SFE. That's not your money, let's be realistic. You didn't earn that money, you didn't do anything to get that money. So you're just going to go around tapping it like it's nothing. You're going to be like, yeah, it's fine. I'll pay it off with my paycheck in the future. I think being a degree apprentice really, harvests that discipline that you need.
I think so, and because you know what hard work means, like I remember getting my paycheck at the end of the month going, I know I've worked really hard for this, I'm not going to go spend it on something stupid, I'm going to spend it on something that I really value at the end of the day. I'm saving for a Birkin bag. What is one piece of advice you would give an aspiring apprentice?
To not give up. and I always say this because you can give an aspiring apprentice advice, but at the end of the day, I'd rather give someone advice that will, help them their whole life. And not giving up is probably one of the most important things, because I know people that have faced over 100 rejections when it comes to degree apprenticeships. You can't give up. You need to be resilient. Every single time you fail an assessment centre or you fail one of the stages, reflect, analyse. Because every single degree apprenticeship, no matter what it is, you have to have some sort of analysis skills. And sit there and analyse where you went wrong. And then make that a point to turn your weakness into your strength. If you turn that weakness into your strength, forget degree apprenticeships in the future, no matter what it is. If it's public speaking, if it's art, whatever it is, you can turn that weakness into a strength, and it will just help you out in the future no matter what.
Yeah, I think that's very poetic and beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you very, very much for coming.
No worries.